Are you getting bored in retirement, or are you worried that you might enter that stage of retirement where you start to get bored? Let's talk about what you can do when and if that happens. I hope you will stick around. So, when you're working up to retirement, that pre retirement stage where you are paying off debt, making plans, getting excited, it's one of the best stages of retirement. That excitement just builds and builds and builds for most of us. And what I did during that time is I made a list of things I wanted to do once I retired. I wanted to embroidery. I wanted to spend more time with my grandchildren, my pets. I wanted to garden. I wanted to be outside. I wanted to watch my soap operas. I wanted to take lazy parts of the day and just sit around and relax. I wanted to walk. I wanted to travel. I wanted to declutter. I had so many things on that list. And let me tell you, I hit it really hard. And it's been almost 2 years. The end of October will be 2 years. And I realized in the last week, I was starting to feel a little bored. And I thought, well, this isn't right. Why am I feeling bored? I'm so excited about retirement. Every new day is an open blank slate. But for some people, that open blank slate starts to look really daunting and they don't know what to do with themselves. Because I had so many things on that list and I hit it so hard and I was so excited, I got a lot of them out of the way. And so now I'm like, okay, I don't really feel like reading right now. I just finished a series. I'm having arthritis in my hands. I don't feel like embroidering. My back's bothering me. I don't feel like walking. Plus, it's so hot. I traveled a lot this year. I haven't been home much. I don't want to travel right now. And I started looking at all the things I was excited about and the fact that I had kind of marked them off my list for at least the time being. So, what could I do next? So, I pulled that list back out and I reviewed it again. And I was like, okay, what have I not done on that list? Does anything on that list sound interesting? Well, a few of them did, and some of them are still hanging out there. And I looked through that list and I thought, okay, maybe it's time to add to the list or make a new list because now I've experienced a year and 10 months of retirement, and maybe my goals and maybe some of the things I want to try have changed. So I started looking at revamping that list. So as I go through these things in my life, I share them with you to try to help encourage others and give others ideas as I come up with them myself. And I feel like they work for me. So I wanted to pass some of this on to you. So part of my reviewing of starting to feel a little bit bored was, what part of my day do I love? What part do I not want to change no matter what? And that's my mornings. I love my mornings. I love getting up, making a cup of coffee, watching my favorite YouTubers. I love checking my bank account and my credit card statements to make sure that everything looks correct. Yes, I know I'm weird. I'm a numbers nerd. I always have been. So I look at that every single day. That's part of my routine. Like my late nights, because my late nights is usually when I watch my General Hospital for the day, which I love General Hospital. I've watched it off and on since I was 16. I stopped for a long time there when I was working, but I've been back to watching it the last few years and I'm really enjoying it. So then I have a big chunk of late morning to late evening. What am I going to do with that now? It's really hot outside. I still have some garden things going, but it's too hot to do most anything outside unless I go to the pool. So I can get with some of my friends and I can do things like that, go to the pool. But some of my friends, in fact, my two best friends, are still working. And that's one thing that we find in early retirement or even in later retirement. If we have friends that have not got themselves to a place that they feel comfortable to quit, sometimes they are still working. And then that leaves us just flailing around going, what am I going to do? My friends are working, my kids are working, my grandkids are in school. What am I going to do to fill my time that I can get excited about? I even noticed that I started gaining a few pounds back during this time because I was bored and I was eating because I was bored. So I was like, okay, I worked too hard to get this 50 plus pounds off. I've got to change my routine. This is a must do. So, because I have a lot of physical issues and it's hard for me to do a lot of things, I still wanted to focus on my health, but I wanted to do it in a way that didn't cause me any bad ill effects. So, I've started laying on my bed in the mornings. I have some 3 pound weights and I've been laying flat and using my bed to support my back and also my upper arms and just doing some gentle 3 pound arm curls because I've noticed I'm getting the old lady arms that are getting kind of flabby and I don't like that. So I'm going to start doing that. I started doing that 5 minutes a day, every day. I know that doesn't sound much, but I need to work up to it because I have not done anything like that in so long. So I'm going to add that to my daily routine. Now, can I get excited about it? If it makes my arms firmer, I definitely can get excited about it. But taking a look at your life and saying, okay, what do I want to improve on to maybe give myself a better quality of life? What can I focus on right now? Can I focus on my diet? Can I focus on my health? Can I focus on exercise? What can I focus on right now that will make me physically and mentally feel better? Even when I had kids at home, I always stayed very busy and I always would throw myself into projects one after another, something around the house that I wanted to do that I wanted to work on. Well, as you know, we've been doing some remodeling and some upkeep to our home, but that's not something I can really throw myself into because other than moving some light items, most of the work is being done by the contractor. But those are things that I look at. Can I throw myself into a project right now? And if I decide to do that, what project might interest me? So that's kind of rolling around in my head right now. I'm thinking about that and what might interest me. Another thing that I'm thinking about is making future plans. This can really help drag you out of a drudgery where you're feeling like you don't have anything to look forward to or you're bored. So, throwing yourself into a new project or making plans about maybe a vacation or a weekend getaway or just something that you're looking forward to, that can be something that can really kind of bring you back out of this as you're starting to slip into it. So that's one of the things that I think is so important is identifying that you're starting to get bored and tackle that before it gets away from you because you certainly don't want that slipping into depression and it being harder to pull yourself out of it. So if you start to feel this or notice this, I suggest you start making a list and tackling that boredom right away so that you don't slip into depression. Approximately 28% of retirees report being depressed in retirement, but only 5% of the normal population report being depressed. So it is significantly higher and something to be aware of. A couple of the things that I've briefly touched on a couple of recent videos is exploring some things that I never had time to do when I was working, like going to our local public library, checking out some local parks that I've never been to. These are things that we've paid for with our working tax dollars. And we usually don't have time to enjoy these things. So, getting out and exploring a little bit can make you feel better than isolating or not getting out and seeing anyone. Even if you're in an area where there's other people around, like in the library or in the park, it can lift your spirits. And so, that's a couple of the things that I have done lately. Also, if you are interested in learning, there's tons of YouTube videos. I've learned how to do some canning and some foraging and some things like that in retirement that I have really enjoyed. And some local colleges even offer free college classes to seniors. You can go in like you're auditing the class, is what they call it at our local college, and you can sit in on the classes and you can actually learn something new, something you've been interested in, and you don't have to pay a fee or they waive the fee. You might have to still buy books. I'm not sure about that. It would depend on where you're going, but there's always lots of learning activities and things where we can be around other people so that we just don't slip into that boredom at home. So, one of the things I like to tell myself is if not now, when? When we're retired, I think that's an important line to focus on. Sometimes we're tempted to put things off. Oh, I'll start that new exercise program later, or I'll check out that new park some other time. But when we are retired, we need to keep that momentum going. So, if not now, when? And one of the things that I found on my list was enjoying some of the things that I got for Christmas that were self love and self care type items that I never had time to use. So if you're getting bored in retirement, look at that list again and see what the heck you had on there. You might just decide to pull out some of those old Christmas gifts like I did today and give yourself a relaxing facial. Wow, I have to admit that is really refreshing, especially on these hot summer days. So this is an aloe mask that is paper, which I really like that better than the kind that is like some type of paste and you have to peel it all off. It's so easy to put on and take off. It's so refreshing. It's like 100 degrees today. I have all of my curtains closed and I have the fans running. It's decent in the house, but it is hotter than hot outside. But these are under $1 a piece. So I am going to link that in the description box below. If you want to treat yourself a few times a year to a facial that is about 20 to 30 minutes, it is really nice. And it kind of gives you a better outlook on the day, I have to admit. So I hope that this video brought you some comfort, some joy, and maybe some ideas on how to tackle boredom in retirement. Let me know if you are worried about this. Let me know if you've experienced this. And if you have, share with us some of the things that you're doing in retirement so you don't get bored. Thanks for listening today. I always appreciate the time you spend with me, and I hope you'll join me for another video.